Hello friends, I'm Pramanshu from Team 84 Pillars. This week we'll be presenting a review on pharma sector as a whole, and towards the end of this video you will find the best filtered stocks using our proprietary software. So please watch the video till the end to maximize your benefits, and please consider these videos as educational purpose videos, and you may seek financial advisors help while making an investment based on our reviews.
So friends, let us begin our journey for towards this review of pharma sector. So there are certain discussion points that we'll be covering in this video. So one is the pharma sector definitions and overview. Then we'll move on to best pharma stocks. Then total turnover or sales, normalized turnover, profit margin and net profit, earnings per share. Then we'll using our proprietary software or the proprietary software will as we promised will show you the best filtered stocks, and finally the ERM chart, which will give you the stocks, their valuations, and certain other parameters. So let us move from here to the next slide. So pharma sector certain definitions are very important as to where the pharma sector companies are working currently in India. So as we know, this API. So API stands for active pharmaceutical ingredient, and this is the you take any medicine and you will find that the medicine the main ingredient of the medicine which actually acts against the disease or whatever you are say you are suffering from pain or headache. So the actual ingredient that acts towards assuaging that particular effect is called the API. Then there's something called intermediate. So you do not directly get APIs. You start with certain chemicals and there are certain chemical processes involved. So finally we make an API, and prior to being becoming an API, the bulk materials which are used for making the API, the intermediates are formed. So after and their composition has to be very accurate, else you'll not get the actual API that you are willing to make it. Then there are something called finished dosage formulations. So once you are making an API, API is like API constitutes of if you take a whole medicine as whole, then API will be like 80 to 90% ingredient belongs to API. So the rest of the things like the covering of the medicine and to make it in the consumable form, you have to add certain other ingredients. So when you add everything and the medicine is ready to be consumed by human beings, so that is called the finished dosage formulations. Then we move on to branded medicines. Finished dosage formulations may not be branded, may not be taken by one company. So the same finished dosage formulations may be taken by different companies, and they will put their brands on that particular medicine, and then it will be sold under that brand name. So those are called branded medicines. And then we move on to generics. India is a master in the generic game. So what are generics actually? The generics are like when you are making an API, and from an API you start from bulk materials, then you move on to intermediates, then you make an API, and then in the API from API you make finished dosage formulations. So these medicines are patented when they are made by some big pharma companies or whatever pharma companies make. They usually patent their medicines. Then the patents last for quite a good number of years. So unless the patents expire, you cannot make the generics. So what are generics actually? So generics are those medicines which have the same composition as the branded medicines, except that it will not have any brand, and they are usually very cheaper. So the pharma sector has taken on a good run, taken on a quite a good run in the last few number of years, and we will discover as to what were the reasons behind its certain flight. India is the largest producer of generic drugs globally. It is supplied throughout the world, and India is known as the pharmacy of the world as well for this particular thing. World's half supply of vaccines, almost half the vaccines. You have heard the name of Serum Institute, and there are many other companies which are making vaccines in bulk. So almost all the countries elsewhere in the world are dependent upon India for their supply of vaccines. 40% of generic demand in US is met by India Pharma. Then 25% of all medicines of UK is again met by our pharmaceutical companies. And then almost 80% of the antiretroviral drugs globally to combat AIDS are being supplied by India. So from these slides, it is quite evident that India is having a big chunk when it comes to pharma, but it is like not able to monetize this thing properly, because when you see the monetary value which comes to India, India is having a small pie of the cake. So we'll see as to how India can, cope up with that and maximize its benefits in terms of revenue as well. So you will see like where India stands in at an advantageous position, as we said in the last slide as well, and then we'll continue our discussion further. We'll find that cost is very efficient when making medicine in India. Why so? Because the production cost is low, and the main basis behind this low cost of production is this cost of labor. Cost of labor is very cheap when you compare it to making the same medicine in US or any other country in Europe, except China. Yeah, China is quite competitive. Like say the labor cost in China stands as 10, so probably India will be standing somewhere at 11 or 12. So we are not that far. And next we move on to economic drivers. So high economic growth along with increasing penetration of health insurance to push expenditure on healthcare and medicine in India. Like earlier, you will find that this health insurance was not quite a savvy thing, but these days even the young people or whoever is not having exposure to health insurance is going for it. And as people are investing, like it's not an investment actually, it's for your own sake. So when you purchase a health insurance, that means somewhere the health the this pharmaceutical companies are also getting benefited due to your expenditure in some or some other form. This support is also one of the major pillars which gives an advantage to India. Current government has a Pharma Vision 2020, which is aimed at making India a global leader in end-to-end drug manufacturing. Like they don't want APIs to be imported from somewhere. They don't want finished dosage formulations to be or the ingredients required to make FDFs to be imported from somewhere. They want India to be like the government wants India to be self-reliant, and pharma companies are working very vigorously to achieve that. And also in this sector, 100% FDI is allowed under the automatic route. That is, the companies when making this foreign direct investment, they don't have to take permission from government. Yeah, there are exceptional cases, but usually they don't have to. They can put their money into this. They can put their money into this local companies, homegrown companies, and they can do the research and then make medicines and all. Now, the last point of advantages India is this increasing investment. You'll find in the last 20 years, from year 2000 to year 2020 of this March, India has received a cumulative FDI inflow of almost $16.5 billion. So this is quite a generous investment made by foreign companies into India, because they consider that India will be able to give them back a better return in comparison to what other countries may give. Now next we move on to this market size and opportunities. Indian pharma sector is expected to grow to $100 billion by 2025, that is in the next 5 years. Currently we stand at somewhere around $50 billion as per the McKinsey report. It stated that India will have a market of $50 billion by 2020, so we are quite close to that. Next is this Indian medical device market. It is also expected to grow to $25 billion by 2025, like hip implants and this pacemakers and all these things. So then pharma exports from India stood at 20 billion, almost $20 billion in FY20. And this is one of the most important points, that branded drugs worth 55 billion became off patent during 17 to 19. As we discussed earlier, like once a drug becomes off patent, so you can make their generics. And as we know that India is a master in generics, because we are already supplying more than 50% of the generic demand of the whole world. So 55 billion is again a good number. And not just the foreign market, India is having its own domestic pharmaceutical market as well, whose turnover has been increasing almost like 10% year on year. So we will see the total sales and turnover now for all the pharma sectors, for all the pharma sector companies together, and we'll find that the base year that we have taken is 2010. So in 2010, where it stood at currently around 300 into 100 crores, and currently we can see that in 10 years, down the 10 years, it has almost, the sales has grown almost 3 times. So that's quite a good growth actually we can see in 10 years. Then this is a normalized sales chart, and nothing to worry, because the outliers you can simply ignore, and at the end you do not have to worry about the name of the stocks. At the end, we are using our ERM, we'll show you the best filtered stocks. So this is like the filtration process. It starts from sales, then we move on to profit, net profit, and all these things. So we consider all these factors, and you will find that base year we have considered that all the companies, like say that they have a sales of 1, and going ahead we have divided that of the number of the sales of all the years have been divided by that base year. So you'll find that few companies have actually progressed. I mean, this gives the with respect to themselves itself, with respect to themselves, whether the companies are making any good progress in case of sales or not. So this chart gives you that. So you'll find that few companies are lagging, and they will keep lagging. They haven't moved anywhere. They started from 1 and they are ending at 1. That means their sales have not taken any further growth. But there are certain companies whose sales have really expanded with respect to the whole pharma sector, and this is the filtration process that takes place. Next, move on to the profit margin. You will see that the profit margin, I mean, even 10 years back was around 16%, and now currently it is around 18%. In between, it took a dip, the profit margin, but 17 or 18% profit margin is good enough to enter, because in 5 years you can expect your money to get doubled with this profit margin. Then you will find this net profit. It is also for the whole sector as a whole, and it must be taken into consideration that we have considered only 51 companies, because like when you select the sector, you cannot just go on taking all the companies. So the accounts have to be taken properly into consideration, whether the companies are properly reporting to exchanges or not, or whether they are properly reporting to this credit rating agencies or not. So if they are not filing their data on time, if they are not exposing their data to the organizations which are supposed to have a look at their data, so we have not considered those companies. So in the last 3 years we have been able to find out only 51 companies, and last 1 year the number of companies stand at around 81. So currently we are working on those 51 companies only. So the net profit also has grown with respect to sales. If you see, it has grown from around 16 to 100 crores to almost 160 crores. That means also it has shown a 3 times growth. So it is like quite in line with the total sales. Then we move on to earnings per share, and in between the earnings per share took a dip, like you'll see 2014 and 2018 they are at the same place almost. The earnings per share were not increasing. In fact, in year 2016 you'll find that there was a decrease in the earnings per share, but steadily from 2019, or you can say 2018 also, you can see that the ship is going steadily, and currently we are earnings per share for all those 51 companies combined is coming at around 13. So that's not a bad figure as well. And here you will find this earnings per share of the individual companies. So here also you can neglect the outliers, and then there are certain companies, because again it is you'll find that again there are certain companies at the bottom you can totally neglect, because they have not been able to increase their earnings at all. But then there are certain companies who have actually increased their earnings per share, and their prices have also taken a good jump. And it's not that we have missed the bus. The bus can be caught at any at any in between place, so you haven't actually missed the bus. Now finally we will be coming at towards the end of our this analysis, and here we will show you the ERM chart, or the expected return model chart. So what is how we arrive at this model? We take into consideration this 120 parameters for all the companies that we are actually selecting of all the scripts, as you can see on the left hand side, and then we on the basis of these parameters we assign scores, and then the cumulative scores are added up. So you'll find that the cumulative score for Ipca Live stands at 25, and for Natco Pharma it stands at -8. We have just considered these many companies, few positives, and the rest of the since the rest of them are in negative, so we have just shown four to you for for your view. You'll find that what this model does is like it checks whether valuation, whether the company is currently overvalued, undervalued, or it's just at the proper valuation. For more parameters that include on our model are, we are considering an inflation of 7%. We are considering that the sales growth of the company will be around 12%, and exit pay of 20. So on this like very generous considerations, will find that this expected return model for few companies is actually less than the current market cap, and those few companies are Granules is one, JB Chem Pharma, Alembic Private Limited, Glenmark, and Hikal. For rest of the companies, you'll find that currently their market cap is more than the expected return model. So, and not just that, expected return model will also see 9 year CAGR and 5 year CAGR. So for the Granules, JBChem and Alembic Pharma, you will find that their 5 year CAGR has been very good. Also, I mean, Pfizer is also there with 49, but then the problem with Pfizer is that its market cap is quite high with respect to our expected return model. That means it is overvalued. So I mean, we'll just wait once it takes a beating and then comes at a price where it can be actually bought. So we should not close our eyes and simply invest. We have to look at certain parameters. What the viewers can take is, like, they can take a screenshot for their own benefit, and then later on they can just have a look whether to invest in those companies or not. So finally, we come to the end of our review, and viewers may post their suggestions, queries directly to us, or through our email ID 84place@gmail.com. So subscribe if you like the video, and happy investing. Thank you.